Warhorse Overland here, giving you an update as of October 2024 on the COLTs, and this also pertains to the studs as well, of just the general design aspects, and additionally the add-on and options as of current. So earlier in the year, I had a bundled price that essentially had a lot of the add-ons, the current add-ons included. I've since swayed away from that based off of kind of overwhelming customer demand in terms of wanting a more inexpensive base price, and then they can build up from there. Reason being is you have there's a lot of customers out there who just really want a trailer to kind of get out there and save the space from their vehicle, which is the whole intent behind Warhorse Overland. And then you have the customers who are really in tune with the off-roading space and the overlanding space, and they have a ton of different ideas and accessories that they want to put in the trailer. So I feel like this model really captures both of those customers. Here, starting with the suspension, a base COLT or a base stud comes with a Dexter 3,500 pound straight axle. They can also, you can beat these up things all the way up to 5,200 pounds like I have on my stud. But the standard offering is the straight axle. Of course, I've done an absolute ton of Timbrins. We can put Timbrins on there. It's absolutely no problem. The COLTs, I have elected to use a 3,500 pound Timbrin axle. The 2,200 pound Timbrin axle had a lot of differences from the 35s, and for part uniformity standpoint, I decided to go to just stick with the 35s, the same suspension I put on the studs. The COLTs that I've outfitted with 3,500 pound Timbrins ride just as well as the 1 ton Timbrins. So differentiating the straight axle from the Timbrin, the straight axle gets a plus in terms of long-term durability, serviceability, the ability to get parts for it virtually anywhere, and just long-term toughness, if you will. So the straight axle, instead of using rubber bushings that compress 1,000,001 times, you just have essentially spring steel leaf springs, right? So the tried and true system that's been utilized on trailers and vehicles for 100 years now. So the straight axle is an amazingly robust system for your suspension. They're extremely tough and rugged. Now, with that said, the Timbrins, they offer you more ground clearance. That's the first thing, of course. Second thing is they do ride probably about 40% better. They are a cushy ride. The straight axles, they're more of a bouncier ride. They do have flex in them. Like, for instance, another flexibility with the straight axles is you can put different types of springs. This is a 3,500 pound axle, but it's got 2,500 pound springs in it to give you more flex and more of that cushy ride. But the Timbrins are, kind of like the Cadillac of rideability. So if you're really if you're sensitive about your stuff jostling around, the Timbrins, and you like that ground clearance, Timbrins the way to go. If you're just looking for a trailer, hey, I need to get my stuff out of my vehicle, I need to get my tent on my trailer, and I need to get rocking and rolling in the woods, straight axles the way to go. I've obviously owned a ton of overland trailers, and I have a straight axle on my trailer. Reason being is rideability is low in my needs. Jostling of my stuff around is low. I'm not sensitive to that. I want the most rugged, durable setup I could possibly find. If I'm up in Gunnison, or if I'm in Grand Junction in the flat tops and something happens, I want to be able to run to town and get parts that I can fix right on the trail. Timbrins, they're tough. They're not going to break. So I'm not going to say not saying you're going to have a SOS situation in the woods, but you will, when those rubber bushings wear out, you'll have to replace those, and it is a giant pain. I will tell you from experience, it's not fun, but they will last you a very, very long time. So you can do your own research on the Timbrins versus the straight axles. Again, for me, from my experience, in my personal use case, and from what I've seen out of my customers, Timbrins, ground clearance, rideability, and they are durable and they are tough. The straight axles are for long-term, just getting into a trailer. They work just fine. And for long-term usage, they are more serviceable. So I didn't mean to make this video all about axles, but regardless. So that's the suspension. The trailers come stock with 31-inch tires, 15x8 steel wheels. I default to a 6x5.5 bolt pattern, but you can generally put any bolt pattern you'd like. On the Timbrins, however, if you do a 3,500 pound Timbrin, 6 lug patterns only. You can't go down to a 5 lug pattern. If you really want a Timbrin and you really want a 5 lug pattern, then I can put the 1-ton Timbrin on there and accommodate any 5 lug pattern. Side doors, you have a 23-inch door opening. This is equipped with a side cooler slide out. You can get a whole, I standardize on the rough country slide outs. I have a dealer account with them. They're a great slide out. They have 2 different locking mechanisms, which is really cool. But you can generally fit anything. The OVS vehicle kitchen, I basically spaced this door opening out to accommodate that OVS vehicle kitchen, because I know a lot of people like that, including myself. Molly panels, as of right now, those are an add-on. Also, the side cooler, of course, is an add-on, but side Molly panels are an add-on. Some people like them, some people don't. I have customers that are going to be mounting toolboxes, like for instance, like what I have on my setup, these side toolboxes, which fit perfectly the platform of these fenders. I can, of course, supply those or send you the link. You can order them, send them to me. I'll mount them up for you. In that case, the Molly panel doesn't really serve a purpose for the toolbox essentially, but for other accessories and for other stuff, propane tanks, little propane tanks, etc. I mean, they're really great. They're really handy, and let's be honest, they look freaking cool. The rack panels, additionally, are an add-on. Reason being is some people don't like those. Some people want access to the sides and want to slide stuff around, and it's not featured on this trailer, but I can put E-track members inside of these roof members, which allows you to use an E-track ratchet strap to strap things down. I can do all sorts of stuff with the roof, L-track, E-track, just eyelets. These holes are really great because you can just use a 3/8 eyelet to essentially mount in the rack and secure your stuff down. These little guys here. The adjustable roof rack is an add-on as well. Some people just want a fixed roof rack, don't want to mess with it. So that's great. So you'll see that on the site, adjustable roof rack. The ARK rear jacks are standard. They come with every trailer. That's something that will always be included in trailers. Also the rear receiver, always included. Side steps, always included. On the COLTs, the standard tongue option is this thing here, right? So right from the box, it's going to 45 out, give you about 2 feet of space up front. I can make this as long as you want. Some people are space constrained. They're putting this in a garage, and they don't want a super long trailer. But I can extend this tongue out, 14 inches, 20 inches. It doesn't matter, and that's at no additional cost. It's just a minor steel cost for me. I'd rather have happy customers than nickel and dime over $25 in steel. So not a problem. So just keep that in mind with the tongue. You can really customize it to your needs. I have a current build now, COLT build. We're doing 2 fuel tanks, empty space, 2 fuel tanks, tongue box. So if you have the space for it, utilize that option and free option and extend that tongue out. Spare tire. If you order a spare tire, I can mount it to the front for free. I can mount it to the roof for free. I can even mount it to the side for free. The rear, it is an add-on for the rear spare tire carrier. There's some fab work, and I beef up the hinges. I do some upgraded hinges as well to accommodate the rear spare tire carrier. And there's a ton of videos I have on that. Also a lot of pictures showcasing that as well. In the rear, so if you buy a slide out, the option for a slide out, I can put them pretty much anywhere. So here's 2x2, really great system. Interfaces on the E-track, so I don't have to drill holes in the floor. And you can take it out however you need. So you just basically undo these side bolts from the side member, the vertical E-track members, and you can take this whole thing out if you decide that you don't like it or you want to change things up. Again, the rough countries, great slide, locks in place. So essentially, if you buy a slide, it includes the slide itself, and then my time to essentially mount it wherever you want it mounted. All rear doors come standard with this 2-lock system, studs and the COLTs. The 2 locks are for basically if you put a rear tire spare carrier on there, those 2 locks really suck that door in and make a rigid interface with the trailer. That about does it. No awning mount on here. If you do get an awning mount, it can be located on either side. Additionally, it's kind of a custom setup where you tell me exactly how high you want it, and then I kind of go from there. To give you an example of how high this thing sits, sorry, I'm not the YouTube extraordinaire with all the fancy lights and whatnot, but for 31-inch tires, how this is sitting, we're roughly 53. Come on, focus. 53 and a half off the ground. This roof rack set to 2 holes up, which would be a couple inches higher than standard, is 66 and a quarter. So roughly 64 inches with the roof rack all the way down, or a fixed roof rack would put you at 64 inches. The door opening, again, 23 inches. The height of this door opening is 22 and a half inches. Same with the rear door, 22 and a half inches. The rear door opening is at 43 inches. I know that from memory. I put the lights on the bottom rail now, reason being, I put the lights on the side rail on my trailer, but now that I put this tire on the back, obviously you can't see my right turn signal. So now I got to move everything down there. So understanding, yeah, this trailer doesn't have a rear spare tire carrier, but I put them on the bottom. I think they look better, 1. 2, I don't have to drill holes in the floor. That's just less water ingress potential. But if there's anything this customer puts on here, it's not going to cover the rear lights. Now you say, oh, what if you put a bike rack? Well, most bike racks have additional lights on them that you can daisy chain to your actual light setup. The COLTs come standard with a 4-pin wiring connector and this 2-inch removable receiver coupler. So 4-pin, 2-inch ball. Obviously, if you get the lock and roll, that can interface. You can get that in the future. You can also, I can put brakes on the COLTs if you'd like, and if you do get brakes, those do turn into 7-pin connectors, and you do need a brake controller for your vehicle to operate the brakes. The stuff that you can add on in the future, you can always add a spare tire in the future. You can always add molly panels in the future. Those holes are always going to be there. The adjustable roof rack, you can add that on in the future, but the base roof rack, you'll have to take that off, so it'll be in a complete set essentially. So there will be some added costs if you decide to add that in the future, something to consider. The rear spare tire mount, that can be added in the future because there are bolt holes, but for the most rigid setup, it's best to do that at build. Reason being is I actually weld it on. It's just a much firmer setup, but the bolt setup works just fine as well. Larger tires, as I mentioned, you can raise the fenders up yourself and put, all the way up to 35-inch tire, 34-inch tires on there. I don't commit to the 35s because I haven't seen it done yet. I've seen 34s, but I'm sure you can do 35s too. Everything comes with my super cool logo now. Again, I mentioned everything comes with the side steps. Yeah, COLT's super basic, but you can mod it out and you can really go nuts with it. You can add, the partition wall for the water tank. Oh, another thing on the partition wall here, you have a lot of holes. Reason for these holes is they line up with these holes, so you can put shelving in there. But that about covers it. Any questions, just shoot me an email. Typically before a build, there's at least 6 or 7 emails exchanged and phone calls. Just want to make sure you get exactly what you want. Pretty personalized experience. And again, I say in my videos, you know, you can pretty much talk me into a lot of different things. One thing I can't do is I can't change the dimensions of the trailer. I can't change the dimensions of the door opening. The stuff that's engineered and fabricated, it's you know, they're bought in quantity, so I can't. It's difficult to make those changes. But regardless, thank you for your time. And again, any questions? Sales@warhorseoverland.com. Thanks so much.